G'day mates, in today's video I am of course going to be recapping all the craziness from the finals of the $2 million Gamers 8 LAN event. Who walked away victorious, and have we finally crowned our undisputed GOAT of Fortnite? Does this cement one player as the best player in the world? Also, what about the big teams that struggled? Click started getting contested by Pink on day 2. That is always going to lead to fireworks. Aqua and Vino, who were top 10, started getting contested by Arkram and Falconer in last. That's never going to make anyone happy. And I want to talk about a tournament I don't tend to talk about, the no build squad cup. Didn't even have a prize pool, but we had a very bad look for Epic, as hackers won not only one but multiple regions of this event, even doing it to Tfue live in front of tens of thousands of people. So let's just jump into it. In case you just somehow haven't been paying attention, we just had 24 games, 12 games of no builds, 12 games of builds at the Gamers 8 $2 million Fortnite event. And this is not a charity prize pool. This is earnings to the players. I've already made a video recapping no builds. Today is all about builds. And this is the big one. The no build tournament was really fun, very entertaining, but all eyes were on the build event. This is the first and major LAN event we have had since World Cup. We've had Dream Hacks, but that was bring your own PC. The players weren't really invited. A lot of players didn't go, a lot of players did go. But this was the first major LAN event with a prize pool of this caliber, everyone on the same setups, everyone on the same connection. So it's finally time to answer some of those questions. Is EU on top? Are the controller players on NA better? Can the players who've been doing it online, like Tayson, like Kami, like Seti, can they still do it on LAN? Kami Seti kind of already answered that question with DreamHack Sweden, but it was time to test it with duos. And after day 1, we had a lot of those questions answered. It was a very stacked leaderboard. We had, to absolutely nobody's surprise, Seti and Kami in first, the absolute LAN goats, coming off the back of a tiebreaker first and second at DreamHack Sweden. In solos, we had Hellfire and Tripern, our first new team, because Hellfire and Tripern, as far as I'm aware, have never played together, or at least have never played together in a major tournament. Then we had Tayson and Thomas HD, not a current team, but I have played together a lot in the past, and that's 2 of my 3 picks. I had Seti, Kami, Tayson, and Thomas picked to win, and already across the board, big EU showing. We then had Antics and Scram, the new French team, Bad Sniper and Mustache. Again, Mustache and Malibuca not playing together. We had ZND and Chapix, Malibuca and EpikWhale, Aqua and Mystery Competitor, which is Vino, Steno and Lucy, and Queasy and Hen. Now, again, you're probably wondering why some of the teams are mixed up. I did want to answer that really quickly. A lot of people got invited as captains, and they got to pick their teammates. So Malibuca and Mustache, for example, were not invited together. Neither of them were captains, because EpikWhale was invited as a captain, and Reek couldn't go because Reek doesn't have his passport or visa information. He picked to play with Malibuca. Then Bad Sniper was invited as a captain, and he picked to play with Mustache. So if you're wondering why some of the teams are mixed up, like why Malibuca and Mustache should both be there and not playing together, why is Tayson not with Chapix, why is he playing with Zandy, that is the reason. That is why all the teams are mixed up. So I did want to talk about that really quickly until we have the FNCS Invitation, which is the LAN event in November, where Fortnite is inviting all the best teams from around the world. It is hard to answer some of these questions because it's not really answering who's the best team in the world right now, who's the best region, despite EU being very dominant. It will be interesting to see how it goes when everyone's invited, because we are missing big teams. Bugamira weren't there, Centered Cold weren't there. We did have Acorn and Edgy and some of the other big teams on NA, but EU really did have the big showing. But it was all about day 2. That is a pretty interesting leaderboard. Honestly, Kami and Seti have quite a significant lead on Hellfire, Tripern, and then Tayson and Thomas even further down the leaderboard. But when it jumped into it, when it came down to it on day 2, that leaderboard started to get cut back very quickly. Unfortunately, Kami and Seti, sticking to their history, if you guys haven't paid attention to Kami and Seti as a duo, they notoriously have always had a really big day 1. They don't fall off day 2, they don't just freak out, but their day 2 is usually worse than their day 1. And unfortunately for them, that's the way it went. Their first few games went a little bit rough, and that's what gave a few other teams a chance to jump up. We had, at the end of day 2, you've already heard it, I'm not going to try and keep it a surprise, Malibuca and EpikWhale walking away with the win after getting 3rd in no builds as a team who has not only never played together before, they aren't even from the same region and don't even speak the same language. This is absolutely ridiculous. Again, Malibuca speaks English to a good degree, obviously enough to communicate with EpikWhale to win a major LAN event, but that is still absolutely ridiculous. And this answers a lot of questions. Firstly, can Malibuca do it on LAN? We have seen him become one of the best players in the world online. Yes, Malibuca very much can do it on LAN. Now, EpikWhale. Can EpikWhale still do it on LAN? Obviously, third place at World Cup solo is a very big performance. That was quite a long time ago. And EpikWhale showing that, yes, he's won 6 FNCS on NA West. A lot of people try to take that away from him. It's NA West. It doesn't count. Clearly it does. Maybe EpikWhale is just that much better than everyone else. EpikWhale, in my opinion, firmly cementing himself in the discussion, undebatably as one of the GOATs of Fortnite. He is still on top of his game years later. Him and Malibuca played so incredibly well, but it was a close finish. It came right down to the wire against Chapix and ZAndy. Now, again, not a duo that plays together. Used to play together. ZAndy, you know, again, I don't want to say this. He's made his name 0 earned without Chapix. And he is very, very dominant with Chapix, but I don't think it's because Chapix carries him. I think Chapix brings out the best in ZAndy. And Chapix proving that even as an IGL, he's still got it. Remember, Chapix plays as a fragger when he plays with his actual duo Tayson. Showing up and coming second place at a $2 million LAN event is absolutely ridiculous, but it was down to that very last game. They got a 4 elim fourth place in their last game. Meanwhile, though, EpikWhale getting a 6 elim second. Like, it could not have been closer. And we had Kami and Seti in third place. Unfortunately, like I said, sticking true to their history as a duo, popping off really hard in day 1, still having a phenomenal day 2, but just falling down that leaderboard a little bit more. They also had a good last game though as well. It wasn't a terrible last game, a 2 elim 6th, but it just wasn't enough. Then we have Antics and Scram, the new French team, looking really, really good coming into FNCS. Hen and Queasy, again, the FNCS champions, no longer playing together, but bringing it back for the old times. Then we had Thomas and Tayson. A lot of people surprised to see them in 6th, but Tayson answering the question, can he perform at LAN after doing so well online? Yes. Tayson and Thomas could have won this tournament. They played very, very well. Tayson handling it as Tayson does. We go again. We've learned from it. My first major LAN event, and we move forward. Then we had our first NA showing. I'll give it to EU here. EU absolutely dominated this tournament. We had EpikWhale in first in his NA West, but with an EU player, but the first all NA team coming in 8th. Acorn Edgy played so incredibly well. Unfortunately, their last game was one of their worst, being one of the first few teams to go down on spawn. It was so unfortunate to see for them. Then we had Okus and Nut, who actually kicked off the entire tournament with an 8 elim win. Again, a lot of speculation around Okus and Nut, how good they are online, whether, you know, Okus is 100% legit. He looked very legit. My man was playing very, very good this weekend. Then we had Janice and Kanata, a team that was struggling day 1 and brought it really back with day 2. Struggled in the no builds, but for a team that has never played together, same as EpikWhale and Malibuca, not even from the same region, very, very impressed with them. Now, we had Lucy and Steno, who are obviously on the receiving end of a lot of hate during the no builds event, saying they didn't deserve it. They were just doing like cheesy strats. They were cringe, but again, they deserved it. Showing up big here in builds. And the last one I want to mention here, though, Aqua and Vino. Now, this was rough for Aqua and Vino. They were, I think, after day 1, they were what? They were top 10. Then, unfortunately, going into day 2, they kicked it off really, really strong. They got their first win of the tournament, finally on day 2, picking up a win in game. I can't remember which game it was, but it was on day 2, played super well, but they started getting dropped on. And this is where things got a little bit heated. They were getting contested by Arkram and Falcon. And for the most part, that went pretty well for them. They played very, very well. They won almost every spawn fight. The problem was, as the spawn fight started to drag out, even if they beat Arkram and Falconer, dropping on that southwest section down to the mushrooms, they got third-parted by Janice and Kanata. And that's half the reason why Janice and Kanata started to do so well on day 2. They started going very, very aggressive on Aqua and Vino, and unfortunately, it did cost them. And I still think a 12th place is a very, very good performance, but you know, Aqua and Vino were nowhere near happy with that. So a bit unfortunate to see. Not the only team getting heavily contested. We had Clicks and Dukes. They ended up dropping down to 22nd place, and it's because Anas and Pink up in 17th decided to change up their strategy. Anas and Pink, they do go Joneses on EU. I think a lot of that came from when Clicks and Pink were playing together, when Pink was supposed to come to NA. Pink very quickly realizing he likes Jones as a drop. And then when you've got two massive teams on two regions, they can't both go there. And that's what we thought was going to happen. Day one, Pink and Anas tried to go Sunny Steps. They didn't find a lot of success though, so they went back. They started dropping on Clicks and Dukes, and unfortunately, it didn't really help either team. Both had a couple of decent games here and there, but without getting all the loot at Joneses, getting these long drawn out fights, it just didn't work, and both teams unfortunately struggled. So I know a lot of you guys are going to ask about that. Other than that, there were some big showings. If you guys want to check the leaderboard, I'll put a link in the description down below so you can check the public leaderboard. But I do want to show the moment that EpikWhale and Malibuca celebrated winning. And again, I got to mention, Malibuca got given the MVP, so he got an extra $100,000. They didn't even mention that was a thing until the end of the tournament. So they came first place in the builds tournament, getting $250,000 split. Then third place in the no builds, $100,000 split, and an extra $100,000. That's $125,000 plus $50,000, $175,000. He got $275,000 this weekend for Malibuca. Let's check how he celebrated.
And they're up there on the big stage. It's just huge. Give it up for your winners, EpikWhale and Malibuca. Huge, absolutely huge. And you can see the confetti too. So nice from these two. You can see the confidence ooze from them as well. This was all according to plan. They had this locked down from the start of game 1 to the end of game 12.
They can enjoy this moment. They have deserved it. A phenomenal performance from two phenomenal players. And we want to hear right from them. So we're going to throw it down to the interview.
Now, I don't normally find myself talking about Lightning Cups or tournaments without prize pool because, again, it's just for a bit of fun. But there was a tournament I had to talk about today because it really did bring a lot of attention to the fact that the new anti-cheat might not be all it's cracked up to be, or at least Epic really isn't paying too much attention at the moment. It could be because they're on a 2-week break. I'll give them a chance. But if you watched Tfue or if you watched any of the no-build squad tournaments today, you know what I'm going to talk about. There were hackers placing first place in multiple regions, placing first on EU, and then still not being banned to play NA later in the day, who not only that ran up against Tfue, and obviously when you're doing it in front of tens of thousands of viewers, it's gonna get a lot of attention. I'll show you the clip of Tfue, and again, I've got to give it to him. My man has a winner's mentality. He really did want to actually beat the hackers.
Bro, I'm gonna split you guys all boogies, all right?
Yeah, I have a shockwave for with a boogie too.
Here, someone else take one.
I'm down. Yeah, we can't beat them.
We could beat them, bro.
Shocks and but we have to like shock, but we're still gonna die mid-air. Dorks. He backed up.
Where is this guy? Down below?
We got this,
Is that the hacker? He's coming up.
Greetings from Germany to the best player on the universe. Smiley face.
We should push off that.
Yeah, we should. We
gotta push off that together, bro.
Dude, I took a lot of fall damage. No.
Where is he even shooting from?
Tfue was not handling it well. I've got to respect him for the fact that he wanted to take them out. He wanted to beat them. It reminded me of that clip way back, Dr. Lupo headshot sniping the cheetah. It was hilarious. Tfue really did want to beat them, but unfortunately, they were full hacking. Like, he's literally getting headshot behind the wall. Tfue even going so far as to tweet, cheating in video games should be illegal. It is unfortunate to see that not only did they make it through one tournament while cheating and winning it, they made it through another. And I think this does have something to do with the fact that Epic is on break right now. They don't have as much staff. They're probably not paying as much attention. That is why there's no prize money tournaments running right now. There's no cash cups. There's no FNCS. And again, it's for no prize money, but it's still not good to broadcast to tens of thousands of people that you can hack in Fortnite and you will seemingly get away with it. It doesn't set a great standard. All right, guys, that does it for another video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please chuck a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.